Have you ever stared at your creatinine number in silence and suddenly felt afraid of your own kitchen? Afraid that the foods you've eaten your entire life might now be slowly pushing your kidneys closer and closer to failure? Because in my years working with kidney patients, I've seen one heartbreaking pattern repeat itself over and over again. People become so terrified after a high creatinine result that they unknowingly start damaging their bodies through fear, confusion, and extreme food restriction. And honestly, I understand why. The moment those lab numbers rise, food stops feeling safe. Every grocery trip becomes stressful. Every meal starts feeling like a dangerous decision. Some people cut out entire food groups overnight. Others survive on white toast, crackers, and processed snacks because they're afraid of eating the wrong thing. But what most people never realize is that this cycle of fear may quietly increase inflammation, weaken the gut, and place even more stress on already exhausted kidneys. That's why today, I want to walk you through 4 powerful grains that I believe have been deeply misunderstood for years. Because contrary to what many people have been told, some whole grains may actually help support your kidneys by improving gut health, stabilizing blood sugar, and reducing part of the toxic burden your body carries every day. And one simple cooking mistake hiding in millions of American kitchens right now may be accelerating kidney stress far faster than people realize. The first grain I want you to stop fearing is bulgur. And honestly, I think it's one of the most overlooked foods in kidney nutrition. I once spoke with a patient who became so overwhelmed after seeing his creatinine rise that he stopped eating almost everything except processed low-fiber foods. He thought he was protecting himself, but within a few months he felt weaker, more fatigued, and constantly inflamed. And that's the hidden danger nobody talks about. When fear strips too much fiber out of your diet, your gut loses one of its most powerful ways to help remove waste naturally. That's where bulgur becomes so important. Unlike ultra-processed refined carbs that spike blood sugar and increase inflammation, bulgur contains natural fiber that helps feed healthy gut bacteria. And when your gut microbiome improves, something remarkable starts happening behind the scenes. Your digestive system begins helping remove part of the uremic toxins before they place even more pressure on the kidneys. Studies have consistently linked higher fiber diets with lower inflammatory markers and better metabolic stability, especially in people struggling with chronic kidney stress. But choosing the right grain is only part of the solution, because the way you prepare your food may matter even more than the food itself. And that brings me to the second grain I wish more kidney patients understood: pearled barley. Because one of the biggest drivers of kidney damage that people constantly underestimate is unstable blood sugar. Even if you've never been diagnosed with diabetes, repeated spikes from refined carbs and processed foods can quietly fuel inflammation inside the kidneys for years. I remember one woman telling me she felt exhausted every afternoon no matter how healthy she tried to eat. But when I looked closer, most of her meals were built around refined carbohydrates because she had become afraid of whole grains. The result? Constant energy crashes, intense hunger, and worsening inflammation. Pearled barley works differently. It digests slowly, helping create steadier blood sugar levels instead of sharp spikes and crashes that stress the kidneys over time. Research on low glycemic whole grains has shown improvements in insulin response and inflammatory balance, both of which matter deeply when creatinine levels begin climbing. But what makes barley especially powerful is its fiber. I often explain it to patients this way: your kidneys should not have to fight alone. The fiber in barley helps the gut trap and eliminate more waste before it circulates back through the bloodstream. And honestly, that's the part most traditional kidney diet advice completely ignores. But wait, the next grain may be the most misunderstood food in millions of American homes, because people have spent years fearing it without understanding where the real danger actually comes from. And that fear brings us directly to brown rice. I can't tell you how many patients panic and throw brown rice out of their kitchens the moment they hear the words high creatinine. They immediately replace it with ultra-processed breads, sugary cereals, and refined snacks because they believe all phosphorus is equally dangerous. But your body doesn't absorb phosphorus the same way from every source, and that misunderstanding may quietly increase inflammation instead of reducing it. One patient once told me he initially felt emotionally safer after eliminating all whole grains, but physically he became worse. His energy crashed after meals, his cravings intensified, and his lab numbers kept creeping upward. And honestly, this happens more often than people realize. Brown rice still contains its outer bran layer, what I call the grain's natural armor. That fiber slows digestion, helps stabilize blood sugar, and supports the gut microbiome, which may lower part of the toxic workload placed on the kidneys. Even more surprising, studies suggest the organic phosphorus naturally found in whole grains is absorbed far less aggressively than the chemical phosphorus additives hidden inside processed foods, sodas, and deli meats. And if brown rice feels too heavy for you, varieties like red rice, black rice, or purple rice contain antioxidants that may help reduce oxidative stress inside kidney tissue itself. I also encourage many patients to soak whole grain rice before cooking because it may help reduce part of the mineral load and make it gentler on sensitive kidneys. But as important as this grain is, the next mistake may be even more dangerous because it often happens during breakfast, in a meal millions of Americans still believe is completely healthy. And that brings us to oats. Now, before you panic, I want to be very clear. Oats themselves are not the enemy. In fact, oats can provide valuable fiber that supports digestion and metabolic stability. The problem begins when a healthy breakfast quietly becomes a hidden overload the kidneys are forced to process every single morning. I once spoke with a woman who had eaten oatmeal with dairy milk almost every day for years because she genuinely believed she was doing everything right for her health. So when her creatinine continued climbing, she became overwhelmed with guilt. She asked me, "Did I unknowingly make my kidneys worse?" And honestly, that emotional burden is something I see all the time. But I need you to hear this clearly. You do not deserve shame for trying to take care of yourself. The real issue is often the combination. Oats already contain natural phosphorus and potassium, and when they're paired with high-protein dairy milk, the kidneys suddenly face a much heavier workload from added animal protein, mineral load, and inflammatory stress all at once. That's why I often recommend a simple pivot instead of complete restriction. Cooking oats with water, unsweetened almond milk, or rice milk may reduce part of that burden while still allowing your body to benefit from the fiber that helps the gut remove waste more efficiently. And surprisingly, many patients report steadier energy and less bloating after making this one simple change. But here's something even deeper I want you to understand. Protecting your kidneys is not only about the food on your plate, it's also about the fear, stress, and hopelessness your body carries every single day. Chronic stress increases cortisol, and over time, that constant tension may quietly affect blood vessels, inflammation, sleep, and overall kidney function more than people realize. So before you leave today, I want you to remember something important. Your kidneys do not need perfection from you. They do not expect you to transform your entire life overnight or live in fear of every meal you eat. What they need is consistency, smarter choices, and a body that feels supported instead of punished. Sometimes the smallest habits, more fiber, fewer processed foods, steadier blood sugar, less stress, can slowly begin changing the direction of your health more than you realize. And if this video helped you feel even a little less afraid or gave you hope that your kidneys may still have a chance to recover, I encourage you to save this video so you can come back to these tips whenever you need them. And make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because I'll continue sharing the latest kidney health advice, nutrition strategies, and easy-to-understand medical insights to help you protect your kidneys naturally and live a stronger, healthier life for years to come. And finally, never forget this. A high creatinine number is not the end of your story. Your body is still listening to every healthy choice you make starting today. Healing rarely happens all at once. Sometimes it begins quietly, with one better breakfast, one calmer mind, one smarter meal, and the decision not to give up on yourself. Your kidneys are fighting for you every single day, and you deserve the chance to fight for them too.